Hello everyone, Katarina here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video and the next one, I will be making Valentine's Day cards. These are going to be very simple cards, completely DIY, no stamps or dies needed. So if you are a beginner and just decided that you would like to make a Valentine's Day card, these videos are for you. For the card in this video, I will be creating a background covered with hearts. I'm going to do a layering technique where you start with a very light shade and finish with more opaque color. For the coloring, I'm going to use the ZigBrush markers, which are water-based markers. If you don't have such markers, you can use regular watercolors. I decided to use these markers as I've been using watercolors from the pan for a while and I wanted to change it up. Also, you can use any water-based markers like Sakura Koi or Tombow markers. The other main products you will need for this project are a round watercolor brush and a watercolor cardstock. I also have a paper towel on the side and 2 cups with clean water. And I will also use a palette, which is just a laminated cardstock. You can also use a plate or palette that comes with watercolors. For this project, I also decided to do a card in a different size. I bought recently long card bases and I thought that this would be a great opportunity to make a long card. So I cut my watercolor cardstock to the correct size, but you can make a regular size card as well. I taped the watercolor paper onto a corkboard using a painter's tape. You can also use a washi, but you don't have to do this. This is completely optional. I'm not going to be using too much water, so the paper will not warp. I just wanted to create a nice border. And I started painting. I started with the lightest shade. I just scribbled the marker onto my palette and I used water to dilute it down. For the second layer, I will be using the palette again, but with less water. And on the last layer, I used the marker directly on the paper to paint the heart. And then I came in with a slightly damp brush to spread the color around. Also, on the last layer, when I was painting directly with the marker, I didn't paint a full heart. I just added enough paint so the color is opaque. One important thing is to wait between each layers for the hearts to dry, so when you paint the next layer, the colors don't combine. There are few things I found to be difficult painting this background, and none of them had anything to do with actually painting the hearts. This was quite easy. The first difficult thing was which colors to use. I didn't want to do the typical pink or purple. First of all, I'm going to use these colors in the next video, and I'm not the biggest fan of these colors either. I wanted to use colors that are not typical for Valentine's Day. So I chose greens, browns, some orange and yellow. The next difficult thing here was how many hearts to paint, how many for each color, and also when to stop. This is something you need to decide for yourself. The painting process is very simple. So I will play a little bit of music so you can see the whole painting, and I will also speed up the video a little bit more, and I will see you in a bit. However, if you have any question, just write them in the comments. So the painting is done. I really like the combination of the colors. After everything was dry, I removed the masking tape, and the next step was to add a sentiment, which is completely optional. You can leave it as it is. I'm not going to attempt to write my own sentiment. You can watch my next video to find out why. I'm just going to use a stamp here. I searched through my stash with stamps. I needed a stamp that is slightly bigger, and the only stamp I have was this Be My Valentine stamp from an old sentiment stamp set by Clearly Besotted. I stamped it in the middle right corner using the VersaFine ink in Onyx Black, and I used my mini Misty stamping tool, which is quite small for the size of the cardstock, but I was able to stamp the sentiment without any problems. If you don't have any stamps, just use a black marker and write your own sentiment. I'm hoping to sell my cards sometime in the future, therefore I want them to be a little bit more neater, and my handwriting is all over the place. I would write my own sentiment only on cards that I actually give. Lastly, I adhered the panel on top of a card base using a double-sided tape. I bought these card bases pre-cut and pre-scored together with the envelopes. If this would be the typical A6 card, I would make my own card base, as I can make 2 from one sheet of cardstock. But for the long cards, I would need to use the whole sheet of A4 cardstock, and then there is a lot of waste as well. If you don't have a card base, then use a bigger watercolor cardstock and then fold it. So the card is done. This was a really fun project, and I really like the color combination that I decided to use. If you like this card, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. You can follow me on Instagram and Pinterest, and if you would like to see more photos of the cards as well as the list of the products, hop over to my blog. The links are in the description below. On the screen now, you should see a video with another inspiration for a Valentine's Day card, also made completely from scratch without any stamps or dies, or you can view the full playlist with all my cards for Valentine's Day. I will have these also linked in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.